Welcome to the Bar Studio School. I'm Oliver Bennett.
And I'm Gabriel Brown.
We are here today with Kae Bahar, the multi-award-winning international filmmaker, best known for the short feature film I Am Sami. So how are you today, Kae?
Oh, very well. It's good to be back with you again. I've been here once before screening I Am Sami. Yes.
I wanted to know how you got into filmmaking in the first place.
Right. That goes back to many years. I love storytelling.
Yeah.
And as a child in my part of the world, I come from Kurdistan, we didn't have the luxury of having books. Yeah. And storytelling was something traditional in the family. My parents were really good at storytelling. So they kind of told us mythical stories, and that turned me into a storyteller. Yeah. I probably am better with visual rather than with words, although I write my scripts. So yeah, and I grew in a tough environment, but was introduced to cinema at the age of 5. Yeah. And that was a great help.
You were sort of connected with films from there on, because a couple of your films, like I Am Sami, is centered on a child's view of the world.
Yes. It's very important for me because I think the children are obviously the basis of the society, the future, and if we can look after them properly and share with them our life in the appropriate, probably we will have a much healthier, better society.
Yeah.
Yes, so this is why both shorts are dealing with, they're not autobiographical.
Yeah, and also, you mentioned that your parents told you very mythical stories, but they're not mythical at all either, even though they are films with children in the front.
Very true. As a filmmaker, you sort of start with what is feasible and potentially telling a good story.
Yeah.
Now, although I Am Sami was a really big production, it would have costed us a lot of money if it was filmed anywhere else but in Kurdistan.
Yeah.
Mythicals probably would want a bit more of a bigger budget.
Yeah.
And hopefully is in the pipeline. It's not. I would love to make a few of those films, and I have stories to tell.
Yeah.
But
also in the real world.
One step at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you tell us more about the feature film you're working on at the moment?
Dolphins in the Sky.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, I did many documentary films. I worked for BBC, Channel 4, Al Jazeera English, other broadcasters as a freelance filmmaker. But my true passion was always with storytelling, with fiction. And to make a feature film, I needed first to learn how to practically, because the love itself is not enough. Teamwork and how to work with my collaborators. So going through short films was the best way. That's why I made I Am Sami. That's why I made a special guest. I still would like to make a couple of other short films. One of them is called Go Crazy. It's very dear to me. But nevertheless, I feel ready to make a feature film. And Dolphins in the Sky is going to be my first feature film to film in Bath entirely, almost entirely. And this is...
What's Dolphins in the Sky about? What's the story?
Yes, Dolphins in the Sky is really inspired by real life, but it's a story about family, about dance, and love. Yes, it's very colorful, has a lot of dance, because our lead, Jay Robson, is a dancer choreographer. He has contemporary dance company in Bath, J. Robson Dance Company. They are preparing for the opening of their show at the Theatre Royal Bath before going on tour in the country. At the same time, his wife, Elle Robson, she used to be a dancer, but then she dedicated herself to the family. Now she is an activist, environmentalist activist, and she's an artist, a painter, but as well she is a member of a choir in Bath, women choir. So because of that, we have elements of dance, elements of choir, music, and it's very colorful film. It's uplifting, a film with heart, but uplifting. It also deals with terminal illness.
Gosh.
And you don't know who's the problem in the family, because it deals with breast cancer as well as prostate cancer and other types of cancer. But nevertheless, it is colorful, it's an uplifting, it's a life celebration film, not a grim film in any way.
What inspired you to make this film about this clearly incredible family?
Yes, well, I was actually last spring on a tour with my latest documentary film in Israel, where I screened in Tel Aviv, in Jerusalem, and in Haifa, and we had a wonderful time. We had question and answers after screenings. Audiences were very interested, and it was early March, but over there it was hot. So we did some sunbathing as well and had really good time. On the way back, I felt a chill. It was still cold here in the UK. And I felt some irritation, so I am usually very, very healthy. And this is why I managed to run Bath Marathon, half marathon, last Sunday without even having much training. And I did it in one go without stopping, under 3 hours.
Wow.
But so usually I'm really healthy and have hardly ever been ill in my life. I didn't worry much about it, but my wife said you should go and check it out with a GP, and I did. And to my absolute shock, I was diagnosed with aggressive prostate cancer.
Yeah.
Without having any symptoms, or without having, I didn't even know much about it. I knew the name, but I didn't know much about it, which I think is wrong of me not to know much about it. We should all know a lot about it, especially if, in the case of certain cancers, well, almost all of them, early diagnosis could be great help.
Yeah.
So I was working on another script called Shooting Mortara. Mm-hmm. A completely different story. But then when this happened to me, and in no time I was in a surgery, I had an operation of 3.5 hours, and I was completely taken out. And I mean, luckily, because if I had not gone to see the GP, a few weeks later, it might have been just too late. So luckily, after 3.5 hours operation, I woke up and turned to my wife. I said, you know what, this could make a great film. And this is how I decided to write Dolphins in the Sky.
That's amazing.
Why have you chosen the title Dolphins in the Sky?
I think once you see the film, hopefully you will have the answer. But there is no specific reason. Mm-hmm. It is one of those where I spend a lot of time to choose a title for the film. And also a lot of time to choose characters' names.
Yeah.
Because I think they all make the story together. I have my own reasons why I have chosen the title, but I am sure audiences would have different interpretations for it. However, you can just easily also think about dance, movement, dolphins, nature, elements together.
So the film's about so much more than just the story, right?
It's about so much more just the story. It's inspired by the real life, but it's no way my life. Jay Robson is British. He's from Bath originally. His wife is American, Elle. Yeah. They have 3 grown-up children, a very beautiful life, and he's the man of the community. So he's well known around. But also as a film, we very much want to make it a Bath film.
Yeah.
A film that involves Bath talents, artists, actors, dancers, musicians, background artists. Many organizations are already on board of the project. We have Dance Again Foundation, Dorothy Colburn Dance Film, we have Sarsaparilla Choir, Yama Dance Group, Bath Spa University, and we have Bath Postal Museum supporting us. Abbey Hotel is a sponsor. And if you look on our website, you will see that there are many community support, people from Bath who would want to support this project. And we are talking to the Theatre Royal Bath, because the film is written around the Theatre Royal Bath, hoping to shoot the climax scene over 2 days in the theatre. We're talking to Creative Bath, because obviously they are Creative Bath, and we are trying to be creative with our film, so it matched very well together. Said that, at the same time, we are not compromising on the production value. We have a London-based casting director who's gone out in the past week for contacting the lead actors. They are 5 A-list actors for the lead in the film, and we hope to see them over the summer here in Bath playing the lead characters.
So much pre-production. So much pre-production.
Well, there is so much pre-production, but in a way you can actually say we haven't yet entered the pre-production. We are in the development phase, because right now we are working in parallel. It's a big team. It's a big teamwork. Usually, as you know, feature film could take you anything from 2 to 3, maybe 4 years, if not even longer. In our case, we are trying to do it over 1 year. And that is by moving in parallel. So we have a team working on the script, including myself, a couple of script editors, co-writer, and myself. And we have a production team who are working on securing the locations and securing finances. We have another team who's looking after actors, background artists. So it's moving in all directions. And if you want to know about the finances, which are of course always very important for making a film, traditionally you can make your film either go into a big production house where they co-produce with you, or maybe several production houses co-produce with you, or even the big studios, financiers, big money lenders. That could be a much bigger production than what we are. And also you could sometimes, absolutely fantastic because you have money to do what you like, but sometimes it could also drag over years and end up not to be made. Whereas, and I had that experience in the past with another script of mine. And so I, this time around, would like to make it happen. And so I am aiming for a micro budget. Within that, we put our own money in there. And at the same time, we are crowdfunding. In fact, right now, these days, we are crowdfunding for £20,000. And hopefully, with the crowdfund and the money we have in place, we also can then approach a few investors in Bath. We're not talking hundreds of thousands, we're talking a few thousands. And that will make up our film. Yes.
So, obviously you've made loads of other films. Do you have any personal favourites from the films that you have made?
Ooh. Yes. It's really tricky because you spend so much time on making a film. Whether it's a short film or a feature length, so much time. If you didn't love it in the first place, I don't think you would dedicate yourself and all that time, especially when you make no money out of it. Because out of short films, you don't make much money. Out of documentary films, you don't make much money. You can hardly survive on what you get out of those. And so you need to love your film. And this is why you make it. This is your first motivation. Therefore, later it would be very hard to have a favorite. because you love them all.
You love them all.
That's why you made them. They are like your children. You love them all.
Thank you very much.
Do you have any role model directors?
Ooh, yes. Oh, yes. I am so grateful to many fantastic directors for making fabulous films, and you guys as well one day in the future. Hopefully you will be making some great films. And films is very important for us. Storytelling is, life is based on storytelling, believe me. Businesses, news, everything, schools, families, everything is a story. So try to have your inspiration mostly from close by in real life. But going back to your question about directors, absolutely love work of many, many directors. And again, it would be very hard for me to pick up one in particular because there are many of them. But I could say I grew up with quite a few spaghetti western films from the old time of my childhood, and did watch very happily Sergio Leone's films. Yeah.
It's wonderful. Do you think that there are any sort of hidden meanings in any of your films? Sort of things that you didn't expect to come up as thoughts in the films, but once you made them and you looked at it and said, actually, was that film about this?
Yes. Really interesting, because when you write your script, clearly you kind of have some messages, something you want to say within the film. Yeah. But then over the rewrites, over different drafts, it will become richer, hopefully. And when they are interpreted by actors, this is brought to life. It's no more just words on the page, but becomes real. They're in interaction, and as well as adding the music, the camera work, the visuals between a close-up or a medium or a wide shot, they all add meanings to overall of the action, the scene, the sequence, the film. If you are lucky, if your end result is interpreted differently by members of the audience, then you've done a good job. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for joining us today. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you very much, and all the best for your future filmmaking.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.